Talent, former senator from Missouri, is here to do two things for me today. Explain to me how we get out of this jam in the Senate, because it is hurting our national defense, and to explain to the country why Ken Calvert, as chairman of the Defense Subcommittee on Appropriations, is in fact the most important member of California's delegation with its 52 members and 2 senators.
Well, on the first question, at some point, Senator Schumer is going to have to take the L. I think on something like this, it's tempting to try and avoid that pain by extending it as long as possible. But if I were him, I'd let Dick Durbin pick up 4 or 5 more Democrats to vote for it. And then at the end of the year, when the Republicans pass some kind of compromise on these Obamacare subsidies, I'd go out and say, well, see, the only reason we were able to get that is because we shut the government down. I think that's probably the best he can do. But this is going to end one way or the other. And I think pretty soon. I mean, it's not going to, probably not on Friday, but I can't see this going on very long. On the second point, now that Nancy Pelosi isn't the speaker anymore, I think you're probably right. I think that Ken, who was a classmate of mine in 1992.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was. We were both much younger then. We didn't have any gray hair in those days. I think he probably is the most important, or one of the most important. I'd have to go through the list to see, but yeah, and he does a fantastic job, and it's a great comfort to know he's there. And it's fantastic that we're going to pass an appropriations bill. I was concerned that we'd be under a year-long CR, and as you know, the department can't do new starts. It can't increase buys, for example, of munitions. And so he's doing a great job.
Yeah, I was very pleased with the numbers he came up. 1 Columbia class, 2 Virginia class, 32 ships of the line, fighting ships coming out this year. That's very good. Now, going back to the shutdown, this is all because Chuck Schumer is afraid of losing his job. And everybody knows that. Yesterday, Dan Sullivan told me, and I'm sure you know Dan, that when a caucus believes that their leader is putting his or her interests ahead of the caucus, that's when they begin to defect. You agree with that? And if so, do you think they're going to defect on Schumer because of that?
I think it's causing a lot of annoyance. And yeah, I mean, I think at least indirectly, that could be one of the reasons, but they're not going to want to humiliate him publicly. I mean, that just hurts the party and hurts them. So as I said, probably the easiest way out is for several of the retirings and a couple of others just to quietly vote for the cloture motion and to get the CR done, and then switch messaging as quickly as possible. Hope that something happens where they can get this off the front pages. By the way, I can't believe
Jim, I can't find the names. I've got 55 voted for it. We've got 52 Republicans, 1 senator from Nevada, John Fetterman and Angus King, the 3 reasonable.
Right.
And Jean Shaheen is retiring. Tina Smith is retiring. That's 57. Then we're done. I don't know who else goes for it.
Well,
oh, you're right, Gary Peters.
It would be difficult. Yeah, or people who aren't up until 2028. I mean, they can find them, and they're going to have to, because this is just going to get worse and worse. And it's not so much the direct pain on people, although that's certainly an issue, particularly for federal employees. It looks dysfunctional. You know, Americans love a winner. They won't tolerate a loser. They don't want to see people stumbling around dysfunctionally. And that's what they see when they see a government shutdown. And so,
by the way, the Guardians have scored 2 runs, and it's now 6-3 in the bottom of the 8th with a man on second. I'm doing breaking news, Jim. The next thing I want to ask is, who were your leaders?
I'm rooting for
when
them.
You were in the Senate.
I have not only you, but other great friends from Ohio. I'm rooting for them. Go ahead. What did you say?
Who were your leaders when you were in the Republican caucus?
It was during the first shutdown. It was Gingrich, Army, and DeLay.
How about in the Senate? Did you have one in the Senate when you were in the Senate?
Did not have one when I was in the Senate. And usually, this is also unusual, because usually the drive for this comes out of the House because they're closer to the base. It's an interesting dynamic here. One of the ways you get out of it if your party controls both the House and the Senate and the presidents of another party, and the drive comes from the House, then the House leaders can get out of it because the Senate leaders will fold out from under them. But in this case, Hakeem Jeffries has gone so far out front that he can't fold either. I mean, these things are never good, but this one was badly mismanaged. I mean, it's clear.
Do you remember,
they decided,
Spooky, the AC-130 in the beginning of the Afghan war, when that AC-130 went up and just decimated the Taliban? That's the wrong use of the word, of the decimated, because they got more than 1 out of 10. They got 10 out of 10. It tore up everything. J.D. Vance yesterday was like Spooky. Yeah. He was raining lead down on the talking points of the White House press corps. Democrats can't let that happen day after day. It's the only story in D.C.
Every Republican senator is having a field day. I would, if this were happening while I was there, I would love to be out communicating on this, because the message is so easy. Our base loves it, and the middle is with us. And I've heard your interviews here, and it's clear that everybody's loving doing these interviews. It's so obvious. It's so true. What is interesting, Hugh, is that so far Russ Vought has been pretty restrained in how he's reacting, and I think that's probably smart, because you don't want to do something that will switch the messaging, at least for a bit. I think if this drags on, you may see Russ Vought do something, and he's cutting out some things. Don't get me wrong, but he hasn't done anything really revolutionary yet.
Well, Napoleon said, or at least it's attributed to him, never interrupt your opponent when they're in the process of destroying themselves. So maybe the president has said to the director, don't give him a storyline, just let him hang there, because they are hanging there. So what's your over-under, Monday?
Early next week. This is also worse, Hugh, because it's not like they are credible, that the policy they say they want, they're credible in saying they want it. In other words, they're not sincere about it. They made up this business about we're shutting it down to get the health care, and then found out that the health care they wanted included Medicaid for illegal aliens. I mean, this has been pretty bad, Hugh.
Oh, Chuck Schumer, genius. Jim Talent, follow him on X at Jim Talent. Listen to him on Dwayne's World, the new episode.